to the Jonathan Ross Show. Let's see who's in my green room tonight. We have Britain's all-time king and queen of the ice. It's Jane Torville and Christopher Dean. We also have one of the greats of British comedy, a writer, actor, presenter. It's the one and only Griff Rhys-Jones, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. Who doesn't love Griff? She's one of the most admired women in British business, and not only for her acumen, but also her bravery, because she's seen Sir Alan Sugar without his makeup on. It is the fabulous Karen Brady, ladies and gentlemen. And from the United States of America, we have one of the stars of The Dark Knight and Olympus Has Fallen, and now his new film, I, Frankenstein. He's a brilliant actor. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Eckhart. He's fit as well. And we have music from one of the best new bands of the moment, from Ireland, Codaline, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some Codaline fans in, I think. Well, before we get to that, what a week it's been. The country has been hit by widespread flooding. Anyone here been flooded? But the Met Office has provided the official explanation. They said it isn't just the weather, it's the overspill from the new series of Splash. Splash is back. Should I even ask, have you been watching Splash? My favourite is Gemma Collins from Towie. Well, she's gone out now, but she did better than Joey Essex did last year. If you remember, on his first dive, he got lost on the way down. Celebrity Big Brother's also back. This series has more Who's in it than the Doctor's 50th anniversary show. If you haven't seen the lineup, it's basically all the celebrities who've got verrucas and couldn't do Splash. You've got Lee from Blue, there's Dappy, there's Jim Davidson. It's the only house in the UK that people want to see flooded. Although I'm watching it, I'm enjoying it. There's one contestant on there, though, I cannot bring myself to vote for. Lionel Blair. No, I still have not forgiven him for taking us to war with Iraq, so he will not be getting... Did you read this? David Cameron's hairdresser has been awarded an MBE for services to hairdressing. Okay? Look at that face, right? Which you can't look at too long. It's like the sun, it will burn itself in your... And look at that hair, he's been given an award for that. I mean, his hair's all right, but it's hardly the Rachel Flick from Friends, is it? But in these tough times, I don't think... Do you think the Prime Minister... I mean, he can pay who he wants, but do you think he should be showing off that he's paying for a celebrity hairdresser? While he's putting the country through austerity, he should be setting an example to save money. Some MPs, I believe, now cut their own hair. And that's the kind of thing, I think, that shows commitment. Look at that. He didn't even buy scissors, he used a knife and fork. Shall I get my first guest out, ladies and gentlemen? He's a proud Welshman, so proud he outed himself long before being Welsh was even fashionable. It is Griff Rhys-Jones. Come on.
I'll come up.
Milking the applause. Sit down. Milking the applause. How are you, Griff? You look well?
I'm all right, thanks. Okay. How are you?
I'm very good. What do you just sit yourself down? Huh? Griff, here's the ridiculous thing. I didn't know you were Welsh.
Oh,
right?
come
no,
on!
No, I didn't. I know now. Now I know, and I see the name, Griff Rhys-Jones. Oh, he's Welsh.
Oh,
but
good.
I never
You had your researcher look into it, didn't he? He went, he came back and said, it's amazing.
No, seriously, they told me you were doing a show called A Great Welsh Adventure, and I said, why Griff Rhys-Jones?
Oh, of course.
Because you don't sound Welsh.
No, I don't, do I?
Do you speak any Welsh?
I don't. Well, I had a go.
OK.
I tried.
OK.
But it's... now, I must be careful what I say. We have to be... We're in dangerous territory here.
Well, the Welsh don't like to be insulted, especially by people who pretend to be... who are Welsh.
Well, exactly. I am a bogus Welshman, I admit that. But what happened, you see, is I was born in Cardiff.
Well, that's
right?
Wales.
That is Wales. That's very Welsh.
Well, that makes you Welsh.
Exactly. Because my mother came from the Rhondda and my father came from North Wales originally,
right.
and Pennyland in Cardiff. And a little while ago, I was up for a Welsh BAFTA. Have you been up for a Welsh BAFTA?
That's called a WAFTA, isn't it?
I think it is.
Of course I've not been up for a Welsh BAFTA.
Well, you
I'm
should be.
Welsh.
I went to the Welsh BAFTA ceremonies, and on the way up, the red carpet, the red dragon carpet,
wow.
I'm stopped by S4C. And they said, how do you feel, Griff, being, as a presenter, up against, up against a Welsh presenter? Rather, as you started this whole conversation.
They didn't know
They
you
didn't
were
know I was
Welsh.
Welsh. And I said, how can you say that to me? I was... Look, Look behind you. I was born just over there. My father... And all I went through and they stopped. Stop the camera. Let's start again.
Yes.
How do you feel about being up against a proper Welsh
them.
presenter? So they made a distinction, as it were, between us
you are
epping Welsh and
turncoat.
people, proper Welsh people.
Yeah, they're very picky, aren't they?
Well, in the S4C are. But and the Welsh BAFTA's a bit like that as well, because...
OK, but and did you win the Welsh BAFTA?
No, I didn't.
Well, no wonder, because you're
I was
clearly...
insufficiently Welsh, I'm
Well, I
afraid, to
think
win the
it's-
Welsh BAFTA.
I think that's racism on their
I
part.
don't think it is racism. I think it's a proper recognition of the fact that Welsh people are often overlooked a little bit.
Well, I like
I felt
Wales.
that all my life.
Here you go. Now, do you know
Yeah.
any of these Welsh phrases or words?
Oh, hello,
I've got
here
some
we go.
Just see
Yeah.
if you're going to... Sabonkan.
Sabonkan, that means hello and welcome.
No, it doesn't.
OK.
That's the game of squash, Sabonkan.
Is it?
And now you know it. Sabonkan, Sabonkan, Sabonkan. You can
Yeah,
see
yes,
how
yes.
that's where they've come up with it. You must know this one.
What's this?
Poppity ping.
Yes, that's the microwave.
That's a microwave
Yes,
because
yes.
it goes poppity ping.
Because it goes
You
poppity
pop it
ping.
in and it goes ping. That's a
Yeah.
genius language.
Yes. Here's another one for you.
Oh,
Ambulance.
is that an ambulance?
That's an ambulance.
So if we
You're
get in
good, you see.
trouble...
You're better already than I was
Okay.
a little while ago. Yeah.
How about this one? I
Yeah.
bet you know this. I will see if anyone in the audience knows it. Ma'oog draoog. Ma'oog draoog. Griff. Ma'oog draoog.
It's snot.
No.
No.
It's the cannabis cigarette. It's the
Is
cannabis
it?
cigarette. It's the
No,
marijuana cigarette.
No wonder I didn't get one the whole time I was there. I kept asking for a snot, please.
Cannabis. OK, I'm going to go with one more, because I think you like this one.
Yeah, go.
Pus God wibbly wobbly. A genuine Welsh word. Pus God wibbly wobbly. And I tell you, if you see a Pus God wibbly wobbly, you want to give it a wide berth. Does anyone in the audience know what a Pus God wibbly wobbly is? Don't shout it out, just say yes.
I know what it is.
I didn't say, could someone shout out the answer?
I knew.
You'd be on the Mahoog Drahoog, I think.
I knew it was a jellyfish.
You did not know.
I did know it was jellyfish. In fact, I saw one.
He's a proper Welsh presenter.
I don't know.
Let's have a look. This is a clip of you. One thing I've always admired about you, you always give it a go. We've got a clip from you in the Welsh Adventure, and you're on a zip wire, a ridiculous height, and going a ridiculous speed. What's the
Have a look at
situation
this,
here?
because everybody will want to do this.
OK, and where is this in Wales?
This is near Blaenau Ffestiniog,
OK, and
up there in the slate quarry.
and this is in Griff's new show, The Great Welsh Adventure. It's on ITV Monday at 8 p.m. Have a look at this.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1.
I don't think I'm going to be able to spot a Snowden Dilly at this speed. I'm going at 90 miles an hour.
Once at cruising speed, odd things start to happen to your face. They used to call it G-force. The sensation is literally breathtaking. Much more extraordinary is the bird's eye view of the sheer scale of human endeavour in excavating this vast crater.
Wow. Wow. That's quite something. So 90 miles an hour you were going?
90 to 100 miles. They spend a lot of time weighing you to check you've got enough weight to get down the bit, because obviously it's a long wire, so it's got a little bit... Because some people, unfortunately, they're a little bit too light and they don't quite make it up the other side and get off, and then they slide backwards.
That's
and
why
they end up hanging on.
I can't do it for that reason.
Of course you can't. That is officially the biggest hole in the world.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What, Wales?
In Wales, yeah.
Oh,
it
in
was
Wales.
until 19... It was until 1950... It was until 1953. I have to go back to Wales.
I don't understand why you're being so rude about
I'm
it.
not being rude about Wales. I loved Wales, and Wales altogether, the whole programme taught me what a beautiful country Wales is and what beautiful people they are.
Wow. Pockety ping. OK.
Wibbly wobbly.
OK, let me ask you about Not Narco News, which is one of my favourite comedy sketch shows of all time. OK, genuinely, I think it's one of the best that we've ever had. And at the time when it was on, I think a lot of us took it for granted, but it was such a great show. You must have met fondly. And then, of course, there was Alas, Smith and Jones, of each other put us together. Now, we all were saddened by the news of Mel's death.
Yeah.
It was July, and he was 60, which is no real age to go. These
No, and
days,
he was
you
only
don't-
just 60.
Yeah.
I mean, because if he died about a year before, then he'd have been 59, but he'd gone, poor young... But once you reach 60, people start to think, it's time for you to go anyway. But,
I still think that's considered young these days. You expect to go to 80 these days, you know?
He had been he was a bit ill this time last year, and so it was a little bit of a shock. In fact, to be honest, Jonathan, you see what happened was, I'm at home in Suffolk, and I can hear my wife in the next room talking to somebody, and she was saying, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's very sad." And put the phone, and I thought, shall I go out there? And I thought it's probably one of her elderly relatives or something. I knew immediately something was up.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to the phone, and I was so shocked.
And how did it... when did it kind of feel real to you? Was
No, it didn't for a long time. But apart from anything else, you feel a lot of unfinished business going on. And also, like, you know, I don't know, we hadn't worked together for about 5 years in any long detail. We did a show for BBC One, and he came in and did a bit on that. And that's really the last time we did a head-to-head on a BBC. And he was so... this was effectively the Griff Rhys-Jones show, and he came and did some stuff with me, and he was so generous and so sort of... Well, he was Mel, because Mel was unflappable, whereas I was flappable, and Mel was just always sort of calm and delightful to be with. And so it was... he was very easygoing and a very great bloke. And the thing I miss most of all is the idea that there's just nobody that you can... that I can think of, anybody who I could work with so easily.
You know, the great thing, of course, is obviously so sad he's not with us, so sad he's not with you anymore. But fortunately, you guys produce so much work together, and there's so many classic moments, so many great moments of TV which you create together, which are left behind for all of us, which is, I think, you know, is a lovely thing.
Well, it's amazing what was weird was having, because inevitably what happens is, and suddenly the phone starts ringing, people say, you've got to choose a clip to illustrate the stuff you did together, and you go, oh, God, I don't... No, we're going to have to go back and watch all the old stuff and it'll all be terrible. But what was weird was watching it, was the number of times you went, actually, that was all right. Yeah. that wasn't as bad as we thought it was.
Well, no one, you were in the minority,
Yeah.
thought it was bad. I'm going to show now, just because I loved seeing you guys work together, and even though I didn't know him anywhere near as well as you, I met him very briefly, but he's missed by everyone who met him, so I thought we'd show one of the great Smith and Jones moments. Look at this.
You know one thing you notice as you get older?
What is that then?
It's like how time passes so quickly, doesn't it?
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, 1 minute you're a young man with your whole future in front of you.
Yeah.
Next minute,
Oh, 60 seconds has gone by.
I mean, do you know it is over 20 years since Sergeant Pepper came out?
Is it really?
20 years.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Makes you think, doesn't
It
it?
does. Makes me think I ought to buy it sometime.
You never heard Sergeant
Good album,
Sergeant Oh, it's only the best record ever made,
Is
mate.
it? Is it?
It was 20 years ago today. Sergeant Pepper taught the band how to play. It's going in and out of dates. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Sounds mold.
Oh, it's brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah.
Great Mel Smith, there with the great Griff Rhys-Jones. And thank you for talking about Mel, because I know it's not necessarily always the easiest thing to do to talk about someone who's gone, but it's lovely to hear you say such nice things. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you'll agree, a lovely guest, despite the fact that he's still pretending to be Welsh. The fabulous Mr. Griff Rhys-Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Griff. Thank you. Welcome back. Let's get my next guest right now. Here they are, winning gold at the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo way back in 1984. incredible. Back then, they were without doubt the greatest ice dancers the world had ever seen. In fact, they probably still are. They are, of course, the fabulous Jane Torville and Christopher Dean. Hello, Jane. I didn't want to be sexist, and I didn't want you to feel left out.
I would have felt left out.
Well, it's a bit of a treat for you. Great to have you here. Well, you know one thing, when we look back at that clip of you winning, incredible moment. And the music, the choice there was genius, of course. I mean, you know, and it was it put that piece of music back into everyone's consciousness. But I wonder, do you think you would have been successful, that you could have done obviously a different routine to another piece of music? How important do you think that was to the win?
I think that was as much a part of it. It just captured everybody's imagination, I think. You know, the combination of... We'd had 3 previous years of winning the World Championships, and so the expectation was high for us to win the Olympics. And everything about that year was important. The music, the choreography, what we were doing as people as well. And it all sort of came together on that one day at those particular 4 minutes.
Wasn't it true that you almost couldn't use that music because it's too long for the time that you're allowed to have a piece of music won for?
We had started to have our music specially recorded, so it was sort of tailor-made for what we needed. And the original Bolero was about 16 minutes long, so we had to have it cut down or reorchestrated to 4 minutes. And the shortest he could make it was 4 minutes 28 seconds, which meant that we were 18 seconds over the limit. And so we had to devise the choreography, which is why we started on our knees, because they don't start the stopwatch until your blade touches the ice.
Oh, really?
So therefore, we were down to the second of stepping onto the ice after 18 seconds.
So you could do like 30 minutes on your knees. Don't take that the wrong way. What I mean is, you could have started... No, I didn't even mean that. I genuinely... Christopher, I didn't mean that. How long did you know each other before you started skating together professionally? It was a short while, wasn't it? You had a few years.
We skated at the same ice rink in Nottingham, so we knew each other for a couple of years, didn't we?
Well, we started skating together when we were 15.
Together, yeah.
Yeah, so 38 years. No, we've known each other over 40 years.
And you've always been reasonably close as friends. Have you ever fallen out? Has there been tension between you over the years?
We've had arguments, but it's mainly to do with work. It's mainly, I mean, as people, we get on really well.
Hygiene's a big thing.
Yeah. You've really got to trust someone for some of those moves. You've got to have a lot of faith that they weren't out late the night before.
Whenever we've had arguments on the ice, we don't take it off the ice. You know, once we're off the ice, we leave it. And you know, we always had this thing years ago that if we waste our time arguing, then someone out there, our competitors, are actually practicing. So stop the arguing and do more practice.
Yeah.
We've got a point now that if there was an argument, we go...
Why bother? OK, back with a new series of Dancing on Ice on Sundays. Congratulations. This is the 9th series?
9th series, yeah.
And this is the last series?
It is, yeah.
Okay. And is this because you guys don't want to carry on?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to a point in our careers that we've been doing it for 9 years. We think it's been a fantastic part of our life. But it's coming at the same time as 30 years since we performed Bolero.
Wow.
In 1984, and we just thought it was a really significant time for us to take it easy a little bit.
But you can still... We've seen you skating fairly recently. You can still do it. I mean, you've kept yourself in remarkable shape. So it isn't that you can't skate anymore.
No, I mean, we have, over the years, we never envisaged skating as professionals for this long. And we're so lucky to have had Dancing on Ice come up when it did, because it got us back skating together and performing, and indeed touring as well. But yeah, I mean, we still enjoy it, and whilst we're still enjoying it, we want to do it.
This year's series, it's a different one because you've got the former winners back on. So normally...
Yeah, well, former winners and people's favourites as well,
yeah.
you know, because we got Todd in there. And I don't. He was never a winner.
I don't
he was
think he won,
a
no.
people's champion. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he had one of the TV gold moments of Dancing on Ice. I have to say, that exit that he had was classic.
Yeah, he didn't know the ring could stop, did he? But he just kept going.
Well, we always wanted it to be look like you're falling when you go off, you know, and sort of ham it up a little bit. Well, he did fall. He caught his toe pick, and
really
it was
fell.
for real, for real, for real. And we just thought he's not going to come back out after
He
that.
went horizontal, boom.
But I'm amazed that you haven't had someone more seriously hurt, because it is pretty dangerous, isn't it? I mean,
You know, it's all dressed up in the sequins and the lycra and all of that, but you're an edge away from disaster all the time.
And there's an intimacy in skating as well, I guess. I mean, can we show that sequence? We had a montage of these are some of the best bits, but there's one bit in particular I want to ask you about, because it is really impressive what the celebs have done.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
I don't know whether they've got quite the chemistry together yet.
Why do you just throw me on your shoulder?
It's part of fun.
The pressure's definitely on this time round. The competition is massive, so who knows what to expect.
There we go. So really impressive stuff from mine. I know they're the better ones of the celebrities. Let's have that little bit of Bonnie being held in the air there. OK, is it entirely necessary for that hand to be right there? or is he just taking advantage of the situation?
Yes, it's the band.
But you have to be strong, because even though there's not a lot of band, you've got to have a strong
It's
right
called
other.
a sit lift.
It's called a what lift?
Sit lift.
Thank
Lift.
you. OK. Can you still do that, you two? Could you do it together?
We've never really
It's
performed
more of
those.
a pair skating move,
okay.
yeah.
Not nice.
I have to
anyway.
say, you know, it's not just about the man being strong. I mean, Bonnie has to hold herself up there in that position, and
She does.
which she's very good at.
Just to hold herself up and stop giggling. OK, so you're back on tour as well. After this, you said you like doing the touring.
Yeah.
And this, I guess, will be your last Dancing on Ice tour as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Final Dancing on Ice tour, which we're really excited about because we get a chance to go up and around the country. But also, it might be our last Bolero outing.
Wow.
I think we'll be seeing Bolero on the tour, but, you know, it might be the last time we perform it within...
It's real significant for us, February the 14th. For most people, I know it's Valentine's Day, but for us, it's Bolero Day, because that's the day we actually won the Olympics.
Wow, so you always think of that on...
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you said you might stop doing it. Is this because, have you grown tired of doing it, or you just don't want to let people down if you start doing it less well?
Second one.
Yeah. Is that really it?
Well, you get older, you know, and I do the splits in the Bolero.
I thought that was an accident.
No, that's for real.
So this might be the last year that he's able to do the splits.
I would have thought it got easier as you got older, because things are just down there anyway, aren't they?
We always used to call that ball... that...
It's OK, we can edit this out.
We're not going to edit that. That's staying in.
We used to call that move roll the ball.
Let me ask you, knowing what you can do you roller skate as well? Do you ever show off your skills outside? Because if I could do what you do, I'd be roller skating everywhere. I mean, I'd be wearing roller skates now.
It's a new thing for us. We discovered these things called off-ice skates, look like rollerblades, but yeah, we did something on the Royal Variety.
So you weren't on ice on that?
That wasn't on ice, no.
So if I was to ask you at the end of the show, because we have some of those skates you're mentioning, if we were to ask you to maybe, if I was to get someone else from Greenwood and we were to try and learn some moves from you, you could teach us some moves?
We could try.
Let's do
And
it.
maybe a
of
couple of
course.
the other guests as well?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
try.
OK,
Sure.
and could we, if we got thinking, could we ask you to do a little bit of Bolero for us, do your routine for us? I think we like that, wouldn't we? Would you do a little bit for us?
We'll do some bits and pieces.
Do some bits and pieces. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, then we're back later on, Torval and Dean. That was lovely, thank you. OK, don't go away. There's some more great guests coming up. See you after the break. Welcome back to the show. Let's get my next guest out, shall we? From the ballroom of The Apprentice to the ballroom of West Ham United, she's a woman who means business. Let's see her in action.
Susan sort of rushed into the room, looked at all the products, immediately said, no, 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 yes, yes. And that was incredibly decisive, but actually she's very immature.
Are the French eco-friendly? Do the French go camping? Are the French very fond of their children? If that makes sense. I honestly know nothing about the French or their culture.
You do not have to have been to France to answer the question, do the French like their children? I mean, that really is beyond stupid.
Do a lot of people drive in France?
I like the stupid person. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Karen Grady. Hello, Karen. Lovely to meet you properly. Come and sit down.
Thank you.
That's a very lovely colour. Is that teal, that colour?
I think it is, yeah.
I believe it's called teal.
It
goes
is.
very nice with that orange couch.
Hopefully I can... Yes.
Hey, congratulations. Congratulations on your leg. Congratulations. Congratulations on your CBE.
Oh, thank you so much.
That was this year's honours, of course,
Yes.
and it's a fantastic achievement and fully deserved, and what a lovely thing. And I think I'm right in thinking there were more women receiving honours this year than ever before?
That's correct, yeah. Isn't that fantastic?
It's fantastic,
Yep.
and what a wonderful thing. Tell me about, before we talk about the tennis, tell me about the day job. Tell me about working in football. Tell me about running West Ham. Because they're not doing as well as you might like at the moment, are they?
No, unfortunately not. We've got a lot of injuries. They're coming back. But, you know, in football, you have to look at the longer term, the strategy. We're moving to the Olympic Stadium. We've got a manager that we trust, a team that we believe in, and it's a matter of time, I think, before those things kick in place. And we finished 10th in the Premier League last year, so we're hoping to... well, maybe not do as good as that this year, but certainly stay in so we can start to build our business on that basis.
Isn't this the time of the year right now where you can trade players, you buy players? Is that right now?
That's correct, yeah. It's called the transfer window.
So it's like, for football, it's like the post-Christmas sales. Really,
yes.
And have you eye on anyone in particular?
Yeah, but there's no bargains, unlike in the January
Well,
sales. It's not a great time to buy, but we do need to strengthen the team because we've had so many injuries. So.
And so how actively involved are you in that, or do you leave that to the manager, pretty much?
Pretty much leave it to the manager. And my chairman, David Sullivan, he's very active in the transfer market with the manager. I mean, I don't really know anything about football. I know a lot about the business of football, but the day they asked me about my opinions on forwards or centre-halves or wing-backs, left-backs, right-backs, it would be a sad day for West Ham.
But see, that's fascinating. That's obviously why you've done as well as you have, because you've not gone in and pretended to know something you don't know. You've gone in, you saw football, I guess, as a business opportunity, because you persuaded David Sullivan to buy his first team, didn't you?
Well, I saw a little advert in the Financial Times newspaper that said football club for sale. Oh, that's very interesting. So I phoned up and I got the details, and I went to my chairman at the time and I said, there's this football club for sale. You buy it, I'll run it. He said, football, Karen, very male-dominated. You'll have to be twice as good as the men to be thought as even only half as good. I said, well, luckily that's not difficult. And he said, go on, then we'll give it a go. And on the Monday, we owned this football club.
And when was that? What year was that?
That was 1993.
But how were the players with you? Because I imagine as well, there must have been some resistance there, I would have thought.
Not really, because I didn't... I went to run the business, not manage the team, right. So there wasn't really that much overlap.
And you married someone from the team, didn't you?
I did, yes, yeah.
OK. And was that strange? Was that... did you have to manage and finesse that in a certain way?
Not really for me, probably more so for him. But I sold him because I needed the money.
Well, you see, how many women would love to be in that position with their husbands at home?
Most women want to give their husbands away. I managed to get a few quid for mine.
Yeah, you behave yourself. Well, I'm going to sell you to Crew. But he didn't mind. He understood.
No, he didn't mind. I mean, it was always, you know, it was interesting, a woman, this sort of young woman going into football. I mean, things have really changed in football now. There's lots of female senior executives across all areas of the game. But I remember, you know, going to my first away game, and I turned up, and this little old boy on the desk, and I said to him, oh, hello, could you tell me, please, where's the director's box? And this old boy said, director's wives over there. I said, well... That's very interesting, but I need to know where's the director's box. He said, yes, dear, go in the ladies' room with the other wives. I said, no, you don't understand. I am the managing director, so I need to know where the director's box is. This little boy put his glasses on, and he looked at me and went, oh, yes, you're that woman. Stay here and I'll find out what to do with you. Because in those days, women didn't go in the boardrooms of football, so I was probably the first door I kicked down, actually.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Let me ask you about something else, because Dave Sullivan made his money really with the Sunday Sport and with what we call euphemistically men's magazines, but it was kind of soft-core porn, really. And now there's a kind of a move now saying, OK, we should, let's stop page 3, let's stop the objectification of women on that level. But he's still running the newspapers, I believe. He's still... Where do you stand on that?
Well, in terms of page 3, I mean, I don't really see that it's relevant anymore, actually, to be honest, in a modern society. You know, I'm not a prude, and it's not something I promote. I certainly wouldn't do it myself, and I certainly wouldn't allow my daughter to do it. But I think you have to take a view generally. I mean, for me, I think it's a bit old-fashioned and it's time to move on.
Yeah, so you would say, let's end it, but you wouldn't say, let's ban it necessarily.
Yeah, I think that's
You would hope
probably
they
right.
would come to that conclusion themselves. I know, but your mum must be very proud of you, I mean, for what you've achieved, but I suppose the whole family, does she go to the football matches with you ever? Is she a fan? Does any other family members go?
They have been. I mean, I think if Juventus were playing Barcelona in the garden, my mum probably wouldn't bother looking out the window.
Yeah.
But I remember taking my nan in the very early days, and it was a derby match, and the crowd were singing Karen Brady is a whore, right, which is very unfortunate. Yeah. And my nan said to me, what are they saying about you? I said, oh, Nan, they're saying Karen Brady's 24. I said, oh, they nice. I said, oh, they're lovely, Nan. So you have to be kind of careful where you take your parents.
But in a way, you're better known now than ever before, because previously, obviously, you were all the football fans who went to the matches, but now with The Apprentice, of course, you're known for being on TV. Now, how did that come about?
Well, I obviously knew Alan when he was chairman of Spurs, and we did a couple of deals together, and we got on very well, and we became friends. Then Margaret had decided that she'd had enough, she didn't want to do it anymore, and he asked me if I would replace her, and I said yes. It's a show I absolutely love. I'm very proud to be part of it. It's incredibly shot, and the people that work on it do an incredible job. So no, it's been good, and we'll have another series out later this year.
And are you, because obviously they do have some good candidates, but the people, are they more interested in getting a TV career these days, or are they genuine? Because it seems sometimes like at the moment you've got Louisa Zisman, I think her name is, who's in Celebrity Big Brother after she made a real impact and nearly won. Was it The Last Apprentice?
Yeah.
Yeah, OK. And she's obviously a very striking young woman, and she's quite a wild character on this. But obviously she wouldn't be there if it hadn't been for The Apprentice. So you do wonder, well, is that why she did The Apprentice?
I'm just thankful that Alan's in America, because if he'd have watched it, I think he'd have had a mild stroke after seeing what's been going on there. But, I mean, actually, underneath it all, she's a pretty smart lady. I mean, when she says, I don't care what people think of me, I think she genuinely means it. And she's mapped out what she wants to do with her life, and that's part of it. I mean, the thing is, if you're on television, you can get addicted to being on television, and you want to do one thing and another thing and another thing, and before you know it, all you are is, you know, a television celebrity.
Well, don't... No. That was cold, I'll be honest with you. I'm not being transferred to Channel 5. They haven't sent you to...
Well...
don't crunch the numbers. OK, so one thing I want to ask you about, because you had a terrible health scare. You had a terrible...
I did.
And you had to have a major operation. Was this 2006?
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
Well, I'm one of those people that's never sick, so I don't even have a GP, because I literally have never had any illness of any type in all my life. And I had an allergic reaction to something, and I travel a lot. And I woke up one morning and I was all swollen in my eyes and I had blotches everywhere. So I decided that I would go and have some tests. And part of this body scan that I had, they phoned me the following day and they said, we're sorry to have to tell you, you've got a brain aneurysm. And I was like, oh, right, OK. And they said, you need to go and see a specialist. I said, all right, OK. And they said, when can you go? And I said, oh, a couple of weeks' time. And they said, well, can you go tomorrow? And I said, well, I'm not going to die by tomorrow, am I? And they said, well, it's really serious, Karen, and you've got to go and see a specialist straight away. So I saw a couple of people. And then I went and had this, you know, 5-hour operation and spent a couple of days in intensive care. And then I was home. And...
But this is, as I understand it, there's like a 1 in 3 chance that you make it, a 1 in 3 chance that you make it, but you're severely affected by it, and a 1 in 3 chance you don't wake up.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a really high-risk operation, isn't it?
I had the best possible outcome of the operation I could have hoped for, and there is life after brain aneurysms, and things go on, and touch wood, I've not had a problem with it since.
That's what an incredible story.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
a wonderful
you.
outcome there. Thank you for coming on the show. You know, what a lovely guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Karen Brady.
Thank
OK, join me after the break. We have Aaron Eckhart out there. We have Torval and Dean performing a little bit of bolero, and I'll be doing some skating as well. And, of course, we have music from Codeline, so don't go away. you very much. Welcome back to the show. Let's get my final guest there, shall we? He's one of the most versatile actors in Hollywood. He's done rom-coms, serious dramas, action-packed blockbusters like The Dark Knight. He's done them all superbly. He is Mr. Aaron Eckhart, ladies and gentlemen.
Very much.
Aaron's here. So Aaron Eckhart, would that be a German name, a Danish name originally?
It's German. And we lost the D at Ellis Island when my folks went over we went through Germany, through Russia, and then, came over to Iowa. My parents came from towns that, have no names anymore, and my dad was, smart like Karen.
Yeah.
Very impressive woman.
Yeah.
And made his way in business, and then we finally made our way over to England. When I was 13, I lived in Walton-on-Thames in Cobham.
So you were over here for a while?
Yeah. When I was 13, my dad, we came back from scout camp, and my dad put us in a room. My brother and I said, we're moving to England. And this is just as I was getting, really horny, and ready to...
Is that why he did it? If I was taken to England where there were no women?
No, not at all, no. No, but in other words, I was ready to start my life, to spread my
seed.
Thank you.
So he moved you over here?
Yeah, so he said, we're moving to England, and of course I knew where that was.
Near Wales.
I'm not an idiot, yeah.
So, but that must have been quite a shock. So you were in California, you said you were in?
Yeah, we're in California. I was a surfer, I had blonde hair.
So California, 13, you're California, sunshine all year.
Yeah.
Surf.
Surfing, wearing Levi's and T-shirts. I mean, the quintessential American teenager.
And then you came to Cobham.
Yeah. Well, no, that's later. We came to Ripley.
Wow.
First. Yes, Ripley. And we found an apartment, which was it was a second-level apartment. It was pink, very small, with large spiders in it, and everything was different. And it turns out that apartment belonged to Eric Clapton's grandmother or some relation to Eric Clapton.
You know what? We say that to all Americans just to sell. if you've got a shitty little apartment you want to sell, I mean...
No, my parents told us that.
I've got a shed that used to belong to Ringo, if you're interested.
Yeah. I mean, I actually lived in Ringo Starr's house.
Well, they said it was Ringo's house, but it was... Why did he move? Why did you move? Just out of interest.
My dad, because they came from such a small town, they wanted to see the world. My parents subsequently lived in... Let's see, after that we moved to Australia. I moved to Hawaii, France, and Switzerland. My parents lived in Munich, Tel Aviv, Stockholm.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they just really, and they would move now if they could.
That makes, in a way, a fun experience, I would have thought. Well, there must have been some things about being here, even at that age, that you enjoyed.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I mean, there was the women. Yeah.
So you did check that. Well, being a young, good-looking American surfer dude over here, that must have been lovely.
It played well.
I bet.
And then just being on the streets of London, and for some reason, we went down to Cobham High Street and ordered a beer, and they gave us one.
Well, this is a great thing in the UK, especially in the 80s. You could drink legally at 12.
And I was.
But you don't drink at all now, do you?
No, I gave it all up.
Why did you give it up? What happened?
Well, I can't really tell you what happened. I had so much of it, I thought my life would be better without it. I enjoyed myself for so many years. I felt like alcohol conflicted with my business life and my relationships and that sort of thing.
Well, also, you know what? There's a time... I didn't drink for 11 whole years. I stopped drinking, and I don't regret it at all. But I've got to tell you one thing. When you start again, that first beer's good.
And what made you start again?
Just the BBC, really. Okay. It helps you through certain things.
I've been to the BBC.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now, you're in the beginning of what could be a new blockbuster franchise called I, Frankenstein, and this is not the Frankenstein we have seen in the past, is he? Really? I mean, there's elements of that.
He's sans bolts. He doesn't have a square head. He's not green. He's not lumbering and cumbersome. He's actually, if you go back and look at Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, he's a very sensitive, articulate character. I mean, he learns to be articulate. He's very, he observes and he yearns for love. And really, I thought, well, isn't that more interesting, you know, I mean, to have this guy. So we did our own interpretation of Frankenstein.
Well, of the monster, I suppose you said, because people always pedantic.
Yeah, that's right.
Whenever I say Frankenstein, people go, do you mean Dr. Frankenstein or the monster? And you feel like saying, do you mean to be a prick all of your life? Or, you know, but we should say it's a Frankenstein monster you played, no?
Quite right, yeah, and his name is Adam.
Yeah.
And the movie really takes place in modern times with he's cursed with everlasting life. And he is trying to make his way. He's in the sort of on the edge of society, in the dark places, in the shadows, and he's met by two forces, and he has to choose between the two, and that's our movie.
Good and evil, or maybe it's not as simple as that. Let's have a look. This is a trailer we're going to show you to give you a real flavour. This is out the 29th of January. I think it promises to be huge. It's got everything in it. This is I, Frankenstein.
I was given life 200 years ago. I am like none other.
You cannot save the human race. Nothing can stop their demise.
Come with me. There's an entire army of monsters like me. Tens of thousands of them. Could mean the end of all mankind.
Here they come. They're the bad guys coming on. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing them. Hopefully, I guess they'll make more if there's
yeah, we'll see how it goes, you know. I think people are going to like it. I think the kids are... It's going to be exciting and adventurous for them.
I want to say thank you for coming on the show. I've been a fan of yours since I saw you in Erin Brockovich, who I thought we didn't get to talk about here this evening, but that was a great performance in a great movie.
Thank you very much.
I love seeing you on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, will you join me in saying thank you to the fabulous Mr. Aaron Eckhart? Great fun. Thank you so much. So lovely to have you on. OK, well, ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of the show, I promised you some skating. I'm going to get off and get changed to join in. But now, before I come back out with, hopefully, at least one beautiful assistant showing us how it's done, the fabulous Torvill and Dean.
Stay on your toes.
Elegant, stay on your toes.
OK, so, as you can see, I'm ready to go. Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, my beautiful and talented assistant, Griff Rhys-Jones.
Stairs? Nobody mentioned the stairs. What have you come as? Batman.
What? You know what? I really wouldn't start on the outfit if I were you. Whoa.
I thought I looked pretty good.
OK, so what are we doing? This one is a guy, so that one, yeah?
Why don't we arabesque or spiral, as we call it, OK?
OK.
So it's going to be on one foot, like this.
Who was he looking at then?
You want the two of us to do that? Or one of us with you?
Let's do it together. Jonathan.
I'm just going in the audience. So
OK.
So we're going to go forward.
We'll watch first.
Yes.
And at some point, we're going to take one leg off and stand on the other. Stand back, everyone.
Here we go.
Stop pushing. One foot. So, one of you to do this afterwards, OK?
Yes.
Corval and Dean, ladies and gentlemen. I think...
Come on, I'll spin you around. Come on, come on.
I'd love to, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. We're just rolling slowly towards each other. Let's be honest. If you're going to spin someone, weight is an issue.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you weigh slightly less than me, Griff.
Right.
I'm going to allow you the opportunity.
It's all yours.
We're going to start this from the floor rather than the 1 foot.
Yeah, you lie down.
Hold my hand.
Yep, got it.
So down. Lay towards me
Lay
this
out
way.
flat.
Lay towards... That's...
One leg.
One leg
Stay
up.
on your side. Stay on your side and give him this. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah?
We ready?
What do I do with this one?
Just keep it there.
Just keep it there.
Yeah, ready?
Yes.
Corval and Dean, Griff Jones. Griff, how you doing? No, you're...
Yeah.
You all right, Griff?
I am. Fabulous work.
Fabulous work. And we'll start off tomorrow. Thanks to all my guests tonight. Join me again next week. On myself will be Dermot O'Leary, James Blunt and Russell Brand. But now, their album In a Perfect World has gone gold in the UK. Here performing High Hopes, it's the fabulous Codaline.
It seems to me like I'm just scared of never feeling it again. But I know it's crazy to believe in silly things, but it's not that easy. I remember it now, it takes me back to when it all first started. But I've only got myself to blame for it, and I accept it now. It's time to let it go out and start again. But it's not that easy. Yeah, but I got high hopes. It takes me back to where we started. High hopes. And you let it go out and start again. High hopes. When it all comes to an end, but the world keeps spinning round. It takes me back to where we started. High hopes. When you let it go out and start again. High hopes. Oh, yeah. But the world keeps spinning. Yeah, this world keeps spinning around.
Griff Jones digs around in the archives and finds all new It'll Be Alright in the Night, best of the worst bloomers there is, tomorrow night at 9. Fancy some winter sun and a lot of fun. Turn over now for the Magaluf Weekender in 5 minutes on ITV2.